Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. Debaters and just trying a live stream, seeing how it goes. Just trying a live stream, seeing how it goes. Just turn that off. If possible, might even try seeing if we can set up any live conversation. Thought it'd be interesting to Bangkok Dave. Hi, okay. Be great if you can let me know if the sound is working. Are you actually in Bangkok, Dave? Doing at the moment is watching myself. Just this first time using OBS, going live, so a bit of a test, and it's just a lovely evening here in Phuket. Thought I'd share that with you and share some thoughts about recent events. Hi Tony. Slow mode on, sound echoey now in the UK. Alright, hi, okay, hi, Celine Dion. Okay, what to do about the sound being echoey? Not sure. Yeah, slow mode is on, I'm afraid. Yeah, it should be 30 seconds, send a message every 30 seconds. Hello from Alabama, says Kelly Bean. Hi Kelly Bean, alright, good to see you. Yeah, it's weird just to see myself as a delayed reaction right here, so might just be my room. Okay, yeah, it's a bit, maybe I should do the curtains a bit, subdue the sound. Your audio is kind of, but audible if not rather low. Okay, I'll see what I can, just a second, see what I can do about that. I'll do input, just a sec. How's that? Is the audio better? Turn it up a bit now. Should be a little bit better. Okay, great, thanks Tony. Kelly Bean's bouncing off the horizon on the phone, I can hear you just fine. Okay, great. Okay. BKK Dave, same, great, okay. Yeah, I might be heading up to Bangkok in the next couple of weeks. Daughter's got an event up there, so might be going up there. Slight echo, but normal. Okay. Yeah, really sorry about that. I'll obviously maybe this is something I'll have to play back later and see what I can do about it. I haven't got the watch page open. I've got what I'm seeing on mute. So hopefully it will settle down eventually. Damn, what do I can do about that echo? Let me see what I can do. Sample rate. restart the program if I'm going to change any sample rates. Okay. Yeah. Exploring playing high. Bad room acoustics, you think? Okay, you can barely hear anything. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're tuning in late or early or how soon you're getting this. I'll just carry on. I'll tell you what, we'll give this 10 minutes and see how it goes, and then if there are any fixes that need to be done, then we'll just come back to it. I suppose one thing I wanted to mention was it's good to see a lot of people finding out more about Flat Earth. Okay, Tony says you can hear fine. Bay Division asks, has FE... I have no idea what's happened to that channel. So, I don't know. Sounds like Sam from 2001. Okay. Yeah, it's bearable. It's the satellites. Yeah. Okay, I shall not worry about the sound too much, and we'll just carry on. It's just nice to have a little bit of a chat here, and yeah, just wanted to. It's these haters, these people doing hit pieces. No need to mention names. We all know who they are. I just wanted to say to them, it's we all know where you're at, and we know that it's a choice that you have to go beyond that. And it's been interesting to watch Harry Bird recently, actually, because I think a few things have clicked with Harry there. But it takes it just shows how much effort it takes to get to that point where it really clicks. I'm sure most of us heard something, saw something that got us on the path. But it wasn't until we investigated and looked into it further that we started to. Okay, Fight Deception says a little better with the headphones. Okay. Yeah, Celine Leon. Yeah, good point. Yeah, we've all been there. This is it. We know, don't we? So, I mean, I think it's essential to try our best to extend that compassion. I mean, fighting and name-calling and playing that same game is not going to work because it just puts people on the defensive. I'm sure we've all been there where we first had this, perhaps naively, well, it was for me anyway, thinking this is going to change things overnight. Excuse my dog rummaging about. Bob Roberts, hi. Then you're soon met with this resistance and people. So it seems you've got a few types. I've seen a lot of people come along and do these hit pieces, and I'm actually quite surprised. I've been surprised at how, for example, some of these comedy pieces. Sorry, dog, go here. These comedy pieces. They really don't get it. They really don't understand because they haven't thought about it. Tony T saying the world is a ball of gravity, demonstration was a bucket of water. Yeah. 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 I've been quite taken aback, actually, at quite frankly, the level of stupidity and lack of discernment among some of those people that have tried to take it at face value and just haven't understood, and this is what it's always been. It's always been trying to find ways to get it across. Oh, hang on. Rickus says, when it was first put to me 4 years ago, I got mega triggered and had an argument with my brother. Reason being, I knew he was right. Then I looked into it more. Okay. So your brother, Rickus, you mean your brother was telling you about flat Earth, but that got you triggered? Yeah. Bangkok Dave, some people just can't believe they've been lied to about anything, so dropping flat Earth is just too much to take in. Yeah, night at the round table. Once I got through the cock dis, I really thought I would snowball and everyone would now understand. No, people just don't seem to care or have open freedom. Yeah, it's saddening. It is sad, yeah. Reining in my ego and accepting the truth. Yeah, okay. Xavier, hi. In-depth video of angular sizes broke it down well for me to understand. Forever grateful. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, this is it. We all see that similar pattern, don't we? We know it's all about reining in the ego, and it is that belief. But I suppose it's getting to that point. You have to question how we have come to believe something. And, okay, Real Hill says the Earth isn't flat. Well, frankly, I think, honestly, nobody actually knows the true shape and dimensions of this place. We know it's not a spinning ball. Yeah? Right, cool. Hi, cool pics. Yeah, exactly. Where's your proof? I mean, this is the question we always ask, isn't it? Where's your proof? Because it's not a challenge, it's not laying down the gauntlet, but it's just that's how we had to do it ourselves. We had to look for the proof, and then you look at the evidence and you realise that evidence wouldn't stand up in court. You know, Hollywood movies do a better job than these space agencies do. Tony T, the last thing I looked at was the globe. I liked space, now I have my space. Oh, nicely put. Yeah, same here. I think a lot of us were probably like that, weren't we? We were into space. We might well have known about the planets and wondered at the stars and all that stuff. And yeah, it is difficult to deal with. Chris Berry's asking anyone else having trouble hearing him. As far as I understand, the audio is not too bad. Hi, Jason. Looks like I'm echoing. It depends when you've tuned in. I'm not sure if the sound's improved since if you've tuned in early. Colchi cats, I think it undulates from the level, but a sphere, come on. Yeah. So I think we all know, don't we? We all know when we see these people fighting it, or they do the name calling and stuff like that. And individual perspective says it's inspiring, realizing it's more mysterious than you could ever. Yeah, it is. It is magical. It's amazing, and that is just drummed out of us. That is just. From school, the whole education system, you can rarely choose all the subjects that you excel in. I mean, school and things like that should be, what does this person excel in? Let's let them do that thing, rather than saying, no, you've got to learn this, you've got to learn that. Sounds a bit Dalek-y, okay. The next spectrum, flat Earth setting, but the city don't know what the city is getting. The creme de la creme of the flat Earth. Okay, in a show with everything. Okay, can't quite make sense of that what you were saying there, but Kenny Bean says, proof the globe in your kindergarten class on your indoctrination instructor's desk. Then yes, the Earth is a globe. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. What prompted? I'll be honest. What prompted this particular thing was someone had posted a long comment from a friend of mine that I knew in Bangkok, but he'd gone to Simon Dan's channel on Simon Dan's hit piece video about me, kind of pouring his heart out to Simon Dan that he'd known me as a friend in Bangkok, but then he finally found out that I'd turned into a flat earther in Phuket and thought I'd gone crazy, and it was such a shame to lose a friendship. But I mean, that was his decision to cut off the friendship, not mine. But the comment at the end of it, it was like a cry for help from this guy to Simon Dan to say, you know, Nick, come back, you know? And it's like, well, no, what do you come along? You come along down the road of exploration, rather than, and I think that's what it is. People want you to come back into the fold. They want you to come back into that belief, and it does frighten people terribly. So, yeah, but that's what we see. We see these fear-based reactions, and if it wasn't a belief, if they weren't scared, then they wouldn't be doing hit pieces. The very fact that they do hit pieces and they do the name calling and the mudslinging, it just means that they instinctively know, and yeah, come back, yeah, yeah. But they fight it. But the deception says it's all easily explainable. Explanations that were never shown, like circumnavigation, eclipses, ships over the horizon. We were only shown half of the argument. That was the red flag. Yeah, interesting point. Yeah, we're given these 3 or 4 things which we're led to believe are solid proofs, and then it's only when you look at them yourself. And that's all we want. That's all we want anyone to do, isn't it? We just want people to look and find out for themselves. No one else would say, do your own research. And this thing about, you always see this comment where people think that we think we've got some kind of special knowledge or something. No, it's not that. It's more about realizing that we've been duped into believing that we have this special knowledge to be able to perceive ourselves living on a globe. Hi RG, R Green. I must admit, I'm still surprised. I'm still constantly surprised at the difficulty people have taking this on board. But then I suppose you look at the propaganda that's going out there and the first impressions people get, and it's I suppose it's not surprising that people's immediate reaction. It's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible that something can be so divisive. Absolutely incredible. Yeah. Mr. Fox, hi. You have an echo in voice. Yeah. Yeah, I'm struggling to work out what I can do about the echo if that's the case. Hi Nicholas, hope you're well. Yes, likewise. Yes, thank you. Very well. Night Roundtable says, I wish we had special knowledge, but unfortunately it's all just common sense. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It is common sense. And all you've got to be able to do is go back to those days before we were told we're on a globe. Surely for like 99% of us, there was when we first heard that we live on a globe, it didn't really jive. Surely it was something that we had to try very hard to swallow, like a bitter pill, you know. But of course, it's quick. You know, I remember hanging up planets in the classroom, and it's just in your face all the time, and that's, you know. You don't see this globe thing here in Thailand so much. You don't see that symbol, but everywhere you go in the West, it's there. It's on TV. It's in the classrooms. It's on signboards. It's on the internet. It's just everywhere. But here you don't see that. There just isn't that focus on the globe. There isn't. It's just not there. So it's just not in your face. So I think, you know, if anyone can spend time not having that globe logo shoved in our faces, then we can then, you know, slowly detach from it. Stephen Watson, hi peeps, nice and rainy. Oh, you're in Brummy, yeah? The water is seeking its own level, how amazing. One night in Bangkok and the world's your oyster, the bars are temples but the pearls ain't free. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, but you know, that's the thing, isn't it? You've got to challenge yourself, and I suppose a lot of the time we don't. If something's uncomfortable to do, even like, you know, apologizing to someone when you're wrong, I think we're all probably guilty of it, of not you know, being in that situation when we know we're wrong, and we've got a choice. Then we can either humble ourselves and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, and we can reflect on that, or we can just keep that hard line. And if we've been in those situations where we've put our foot in it and we've said or done something wrong, and then we've kind of you know, we've gone back and apologized, then it's actually a very frightening thing to do. But once you've done it, once you get over it, once you cross that hurdle, then you realize it wasn't as bad as you thought. I'm not wrong though, still flat. Yeah. And this is it. Once you realise, yeah, as I say, you know, once you go flat, there's no going back, and it's again, it's not swapping one model for another. It's just realising that there's so much more to find out about this place, and that's the goal, isn't it? You know. In fact, I was looking the other day at, you know what, if you go and look it up, actually no one has ever actually been to the North Pole. No one's ever been there. They've never reached it. What do they call it? Poles of, I've got to just look this up a second. Poles of inaccessibility. There are several. If you just go and look that up on Wiki or something, pole of inaccessibility. Basically, the northern pole of inaccessibility, the Arctic pole, basically, the first attempt was made in 1927 by aircraft, didn't make it. Then in 1941, the first Soviet expedition using an airplane landed 350 kilometers north of the false northern pole. But that was basically the first in 1927. But and a guy called Sir Wally Herbert claimed to be the first to reach what was then considered to be the northern pole of inaccessibility on foot. That was in 1968. Then a guy called Jim McNeil claimed in 2006 that Herbert didn't quite make it to the pole, and he launched his own unsuccessful attempt. 1986, Soviet polar scientists had a go, but as of 2010, 8-9 years ago, this guy McNeil said that no one had actually reached the false northern pole of inaccessibility. Yeah? No one's been to the North Pole. It remains completely unexplored. And it's just basically the pole of inaccessibility is just this point beyond land which no one's ever gone. So there could be, going north could reveal so much more. But basically, yeah, and the same for the south, the southern pole of inaccessibility. If you read up on that as well, I mean, yeah, they've got their marker at the South Pole, but there's land beyond that which they just haven't been to. And actually, the South Pole is on a mountain. It's almost 3,000 meters high. It's a bloody mountain. And then you've got the oceanic pole of inaccessibility. Hey, it's all right. This is called Point Nemo. This is where this is what they call spacecraft cemetery, yeah? But it's just, again, this is a place where no one goes. No one's ever been. So there are places all over the earth that people haven't been. So even these pilots and all these people, anyone claiming to know that we live on a globe is talking out of their arse. They're lying. They're lying to themselves, and they're lying to anyone else they're telling. Because there is no person on this earth that has ever been as far as anyone can go on this earth. It's, and this is what we mean by do your research. If you start looking into how far we've actually explored, or how far most people go, it's just on these land masses that we know about. I mean, there are just vast areas of ocean and land that have never ever been explored. Yet we can get rovers on Mars. Mental, isn't it? Telk says they love telling us how much more the ice is melting compared to previous years, yet when viewed on Google Earth we see just a blur. Yeah, I mean, this is it. They just don't go there. It is inaccessible. Because even if they sent a satellite balloon there, they wouldn't get the information back. I mean, these places go beyond anywhere that they can get signals. They can't fly there because they get to a point of no return. And it's just, yeah. I mean, even flying above the continents that we know of takes a long time, and there are vast areas, deserts, mountains, jungle, green, that are just totally uninhabited. Vast areas. I mean, when it takes you 12 hours to fly from around the equator up to the UK, and you're going at something like 500 miles an hour, and you're just bombing along, and you can see beneath you just expansive space of just I wouldn't say nothing, because there's always something there. And then you know that there are hundreds and thousands of miles of sea and land that haven't ever been explored. No one can tell you they live on a globe. They know that we live on a globe. No one. No one at all. Yeah, Night Round Table, there is no substantial evidence to suggest what Admiral Byrd said was true. Just say, yeah, exactly. I mean, Old School Warrior, what's up? I personally believe they've been to the North Pole, but it's not on the map. It's controlled by the military. No, to be honest, the thing is, though, they have their territories which go maybe at the most 200 or 300 miles beyond the landmass, and they do that by just checking out whether the continental shelf under the sea is part of that land that they came from. But beyond that is no man's land, international waters, the high seas. I mean, there is probably more land and sea on this earth that isn't claimed by anyone than there are actual countries that are claimed. They just go to the limits of where they can travel and explore and be able to get back. And that's it. After that, it's all open waters. So this fear-mongering about people guarding it's a load of bollocks. Yeah? And I have this niggling thing in my head that one day we're going to get it together to explore. It's there, and it's going to happen. And that's all it is. Nobody can physically stop you. Once you're in international waters, that's it. If you meet pirates, you can kill them if they try and get on your boat. There's no law governing you. It's funny how they use maritime law on the land, but once you're out in the open sea, that's it. You're the boss. You can go where you want. Yeah? So, ice walls and all that stuff, I mean, that's part of the buffer. Okay, people are going to work it out. They're going to work out that we're not on a globe and they might want to explore one day, and that puts people off. You know, the cold and the inaccessibility of it all, etc. But as I said, just go and have a look for the poles of pole of inaccessibility, or poles. There are several. There are some on the land. There are some on the sea. Just places where people can't go. People don't go because it's just too far from civilization. Rika says the globalist political structure is already crumbling. Yeah. I think in our individual minds it does crumble, or you can leave them to it. It's difficult to say whether it would ever end. I think that's still an individual thing, because we become individually free. And you can free yourself from that system, from that mindset, from those beliefs. I think it will probably always be there, because that's just how it is. I mean, throughout the ages, you know, kings, queens, and what have you, aristocrats, they gain the respect. There's always going to be those power struggles, that feudal society. Here in Thailand, you know, it's you know, the fights between you know, the Burmese and the Thais and all that. It's always been it's been a constant kind of flux for hundreds of years. I mean, Ayutthaya was this vast city which at some point, you know, became deserted. I mean, it was obviously some kind of mega metropolis of commerce, of trade, of spirituality, of all sorts. There was obviously all sorts going on there. Massive. I mean, it's just all overgrown now, but it's massive. And all that's really left is the temple, Angkor Wat, yeah. But all around that is just. I mean, it was huge, but even the Thai history doesn't really go into that much detail about what it was really like. I think a lot has been lost. Steve Watson says our biggest problem are the uninformed morons. Yeah. Yeah, that Dunning-Kruger thing is such a, you know, when they use the Dunning-Kruger thing, it's just, you know, you hear that and it's just like, oh man, no, it's those guys that have got the Dunning-Kruger, because they believe they have this superior knowledge, and they believe that your average globe denier or flat earther doesn't understand or doesn't know the heliocentric model. It's like, no, we've studied it, we've scrutinized it, we've evaluated it, we've made the comparisons, we've tried to put it all together in the big picture, and we know it doesn't fit. And we know that all these stories and excuses and explanations never add up to any kind of solid proof. It's just so bloody obvious. And so, you know, telling someone that there's a curve at the horizon is as ludicrous as telling someone that there's an edge at the horizon. Both of those are just as stupid as each other. A globe earther, well, it's pretty deadly in Antarctica. How do you know? How do you know? And, you know, it's like, yes, you can get to Antarctica from, what is it, south of Australia and south of, is it South America? But, you know, beyond that, that's just thousands of miles of uncharted territory. Again, we're given this idea that Antarctica is some kind of place that we can either get to and there's a limit, or nah. I mean, that's part of the psyop too. It really is, and of course, it's all done by imagining that it's all dictated by the circle of the sun, which is very, very local, very local. So I would imagine that you wouldn't have to go that much further to start being warmed by another sun that we just wouldn't know about from here. And yeah, we're so easily fooled by these maps because all they've done is draw lines on the maps. Those lines are man-made, just like the timelines. They're a human construct. And, you know, no one's ever followed those lines to the North Pole or the South Pole. They're just put there, just like borders on a map. They don't really exist. It's just all in the head. So maps and models, you know, all these, ignore those demands for maps and models. It's ridiculous. Because no one has the ability or the knowledge, nobody on this earth has the knowledge to actually create a full map of the full dimensions of this place, because nobody knows. Nobody. Yeah, the time is now, Tony, you're right, man. And all they're doing, all these trolls are doing, all they're doing is that's the thing. It's like they want to hold things up. But I've seen in the 4 years or the 5 years, there's certain arguments that they don't use anymore because they know they can't. It's taken 3 years to get it into their heads how ridiculous some of their arguments are, except those clinger-oners, yeah? But the smart ones, the smart globe heads, don't use certain arguments anymore because they know they finally get it. Culture of nature. If you pay for the trip to Antarctica, you will be focusing on one of a few bases, that's it. You will not prove anything, you will only lose money. Why worry about money? Why think about money? Things can be done without money. Bates, 98% of the population think they have it all figured out. They think they have never been lied to, and they think that 100% know what reality is. Arrogance will be the end of them. Yeah, you're right. I mean, and that's entirely why they give us this education system and the TV and everything. Dave Hinkle says, thoughts on Antonio's map, if any? Yeah, as I say, I think it's, when it's based on the sun, our local sun, and as far as we know, then cool, but so it. There is basically the land that we know, the restricted area that we know of can be laid out flat, and we can say, okay, there's a flat Earth map for what we know of, yeah. Based on the sun. I mean, I haven't studied it, and I did want to do a stream with Antonio and talk to him about it because he's put a lot of effort into that, and he's got the other elements that have come into that. Apart from the sun tracking that we did, but of course that's how the globe was formulated, wasn't it? With the sun, basically, the whole Eratosthenes things, which I really hope I put to bed now. At the very least, hopefully people can realise that it's all a matter of interpretation. And that was the whole thing with kind of disproving Eratosthenes. It's like, no, you can't use that as a proof. Either way, it's all open to interpretation. Fight the deception. It's to protect the habitat, just like Operation Fishbowl. Drops mic. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I need to scroll back up the chat there. Oh, hi, Ranty. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I was ranting. I missed a lot of the chats there. So, yeah, wow. Okay, sorry. But yeah, I think. Oh wow. Okay, lots being said. Old School says, I got to disagree on the poles of inaccessibility. Nothing but deception to throw you off the truth that there's an actual North Pole. Man has climbed Mount Everest. Okay, I'm not sure what you're trying to say. I got to definitely agree on the poles of inaccessibility. Nothing but deception to throw you off the truth that there's an actual North Pole. Well, is there? Is there really a North Pole? Is there? How do we know? Compasses. Where are they pointing? Now, what if the compass just reacts with land? What if it's the land mass that is magnetic, and that's it? It just lines up. Doesn't point anywhere in particular. Yeah? And these distances for Polaris and what have you, when and where is Polaris actually overhead? And is it above the North Pole? These are all they're all distractions, all of them. Poles, grid lines, lateral, longitude, whatever. Yeah? They're all fences. They're all part of the fence on the farm. Yeah? You just chuck it all out. Just like the curve calculator. Stop wasting time worrying about that. The only way we can ever know is to go. Yeah? Okay, yeah, Dave Hink, one day, and yeah, we've discussed it, Antonio and myself, we will do it, yeah. I've seen your comment on Bart Hayes. Seek Truth Now. Cool, Bart Hayes. I've never heard of the guy before, but he's promoting carnivorism. I honestly don't know what his whole thing is. If people want to eat meat, whatever, I've got no beef with that. It's just that's I don't think is something that we can. But I mean, yeah, to see the guy froth at the mouth with flat Earth, and then kind of do the usual thing where they make one video trashing the flat Earth and then refuse to talk about it anymore. It's like, well, what are you doing? Yeah, it's just idiotic, and it just shows that they've kind of latched on to some kind of belief or agenda, and okay, that's their thing, that's their focus, but don't just like make a don't jump on the let's trash flat earthers bandwagon and then expect not to be poked about it. Because I take it personally, you know, it's like, it doesn't make me angry, but it's like, well, okay, it's on your radar, you've come into the flat earth argument, debate, whatever you want to call it. You can't just pop in, throw a few punches and then fuck off, can you? You go in and then you face the music. Yeah? So Bart, man up if you're a bloody carnivore. Be a man. Yeah, disappointed in how you handle the topic. Yeah. Bendy Water, being a flat earther makes friends think you're crazy. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is what we were talking about before. I mean, you know, it's those friends that decide to cut off the friendship rather than attempting to try and understand where you might have come from. They're like, no, you've gone crazy. You've gone too far down the rabbit hole. It's just such a simple truth, though. And why? You just got to ask yourself if it makes you angry. If it bothers you, then it means it's a belief. It means you are desperately holding on to a belief. If someone else's opinion that isn't meant to harm anyone, isn't meant to do any damage to anyone, but is meant to explore the infinite possibilities that we have, if that offends you, then you are in a cult, you are in a mindset that is unhealthy. If you feel you want to be violent, you want to fight with people who are just questioning, then you know better than the bloody Westboro Baptist Church, standing on the side of the roads with their banner, you know? And that's what we see. That's what we see. We know. So we in some ways, we have to extend compassion to these people. I would happily talk and discuss all of this with any of those guys that have done hit pieces on myself and others. Welcome them with open arms. Will they? Nah, of course not. Because they want to fight. Yeah, I'm upset he did the typical talk crap and name call. Yeah, but this is it. We know. We don't have to stoop to that level. We know why they do it. We know it's because it's a belief. So it's just, and this is something that comes with time and experience, isn't it? Life experience. You know that sometimes people fly off at the deep end, and you just gotta let them, yeah, just let them have their hissy fit, and they'll calm down and they'll reflect eventually, you know. Yeah, globe earth. Honestly, if you're going to fight someone over flat earth, that's pretty sad. Yeah. Night Roundtable says, my family was so concerned about my mental state that they practically arranged an intervention. Even I was sad. I know! Oh, my goodness. Mental, isn't it? That's the mental thing. Yeah. Snide too. I love to debate any of it. Yeah, Snide, I see you. You love to get in there. You know, and it's always good to see you kind of propping up there, but I also see that it kind of gets a bit, it's never ending, isn't it? You never, I mean, you can't convince someone. They have to. We have to find a way to open the door. But that's never going to happen unless, you know, it's like someone giving up heroin. They have to want to give up. We know it's destructive. We know they have a destructive habit. And we hate to see our fellow humans on a path of destruction. But it's not until that they know, oh, you know, I can give up anytime I want. But they don't until they're ready. Steve, hi. Good, man. Steve, great stuff. To see you going through these things, really important stuff, man. Just to, you know, and you're kind of, this is information that's out there, and so yeah, please go and sub to Steve HV's channel because he's doing some good stuff, just highlighting these things that get people to think. Yeah. Chat's running away now. Fat Dan, I've now separated from my family because they think I'm weird because I talk about flat earth and the transsexual agenda. Oh, and I'm skinny. I lost 100 pounds in a year. Yeah. Yes, it's tough, isn't it? When you've got people you just want to share. You just want to share because you want them to be free. We're just trying to set people free. Free them from that anger. Free them from that hate. But if they don't want to be free, you can't. And so this is it. You know, I think you just got to focus on our own paths, and we'll get there. We'll find the ways to explore. We'll find the ways to yeah, you know, it's just like, okay, you guys, you carry on in your globe, you carry on spinning away. See you later. Yeah. Is Night at the Round Table off? Okay. Howdy from Texas, by the way. All right, nice one. It's very flat in Texas, isn't it? Benny Water says being a flat earther can be lonely at times, but just wait. It's not going away, obviously. Yeah, but don't. I'm sure there's a point in all of our lives when we suddenly realise that, oh shit, I'm on my own here. Whether you might have, whether your parents are still alive or not, or you've got kids or something. There's a point that we all reach when we have to realise that there is no one except ourselves to be responsible for ourselves. And be responsible for our kids and do what's right for our kids. No one else. Old school warrior, so you think there's a real North Pole but never been touched by man? If that's the case, they might be there hiding. Again, I don't know, but from what I've been studying recently, it's just that, I mean, they just call it the North Pole because it's just, again, there's a point beyond which they haven't gone from the land, from those most northern continents or countries. You know, they might have gone 200-300 miles, and that's it. Beyond that, you know, so they say, okay, then we'll make this pole of inaccessibility. We'll give it like a 100-mile radius, and we'll, you know. But again, they're relying on maps and coordinates that mean nothing. Mean absolutely nothing. They're just, you know, beyond that, nobody knows. So I mean, these are just. I mean, you can't. Because a sphere, a sphere doesn't have a top or a bottom or a pole. It doesn't. But we're not on a sphere. We're on a whatever it is. It's level, but you know, who knows how far it goes? Who knows? But when, you know, we know the stars and the sun and the moon, they're all local. Very, very local. I'd love to put a number on it, but I know that the moment you give a number, then these globers will kind of, they make a huge thing of it. Oh, you said it was X distance away, and da-da-da-da-da. So, none of that, but the sun, the stars, the moon, they're so close. They are so, so close. That I don't think it would take too much travelling to go beyond and see something completely different in the sky. Yeah, Dave, you can lead a globe to reality, but you can't make them see. Yeah. Individual perspective, maybe it's a metaphorical place of polarity. Yeah. Yeah. Healthy Hat Club, 100% flat down, totally agree. I'm not sure. Oh, Seek Truth Now, thank you very much. Yeah, it could be infinite. Yeah, my pop says it could be infinite. Yeah, and I think we should maintain that idea until it's proven otherwise. But if it was only 8 years ago that they admitted that no one's ever been to the North Pole, yeah, then the possibilities are endless. We're on a bloody farm. Flat down, healthy, you can almost see it in people's eyes when they won't wake up. Despite, yeah, you see they glaze over. They do. They do. You might show them the you know, something funny happened on the way to the moon, just as a kind of starter, just to get them on the path, and they just glaze over. In fact, I wonder if the whole JFK thing was he was assassinated because he sussed it. He sussed that, you know, he was told to say we're going to the moon, then he realised he couldn't go, and he might have been somewhat of an honest bloke, and he was going to spill the beans, and that's why they killed him. Makes sense to me. There you go. Solved the JFK conspiracy, because he sussed out they couldn't go to the moon. Flat Earth Bear, hi, greetings. Nice to see you, man. Individual perspective, I thought that, the JFK thing, yeah? Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that kind of ties in nice and simply to the whole thing, yeah? And the peak level says, okay, you're talking about tracking the sun and moon again, yeah. Oh yeah, the Zoom truth, Neil deGrasse Tyson and his football Coriolis story is driving me crazy. How are ballers? Ricketts, one of the major things to come out of this is how I have had to look at my own reasoning and logic, ego, and my thought. Yeah, but I think surely all of us have been on that path for a long time, and we forced ourselves into situations where we had to challenge our beliefs, and we wanted to, we knew, FPV Angel, hi. Yeah, you know, we certainly from my own experience coming here to Thailand, I mean, came along with all these preconceived ideas, with this superior mindset, thinking I was coming to a lesser culture, but what I've realized is that these guys are so much more advanced in their culture than our culture. You know, the British culture has digressed and devolved so much. It's incredible, or it's in this holding pattern. You know, it's yes, there have been lots of advancements and infrastructure and all that stuff, but you go back and you, hi Joe, Mama. You see what people are worried about, they're concerned about, you know, and you think if you just look into, you know, like how the elderly. You might work all your life, save your money, you have your house, and then eventually you're going to end up in an old people's home. You've got to sign away your house to get into that old people's home, and they will take it off you if you live longer than you expect to live in this old people's home. They make sure that they're going to, you've got to sign your house away. And if you don't do it properly, to sign over your property, to make sure that your property goes to your descendants, your next of kin, the state takes it off you. Yeah? From the simple thing of you might buy a car and register it in your name and pay for it and think that's my car, but the police don't ever call you the owner, they call you the keeper, because the car never belonged to you in the first place. They can take it off you any time they like. It's not yours. You're just paying for, if you pay for thousands of pounds for a BMW, you're paying for that, you're renting that status symbol. Break the law, they take it off you, and I'll crush it. Yeah? It's not yours. We don't own anything. You can't own land. You never actually own a house, because it will eventually be taken off you. Yeah? You can't give it to your kids. The state will take it. Yeah, keeper, not owner. Exactly, Stephen. Yeah. I mean, it's all there. It's all there in the language. And if people refuse to see even that, and this is the thing with the globe thing, isn't it? It's all a language. Newton's laws. Newton's laws. These are laws for the globe model. So when someone argues with you about the globe, they're speaking legalese. They're speaking global legalese. That's their culture. That's their laws, made up for the globe. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not in that culture. I'm not having anything to do with those laws. Those laws do not apply to me. They aren't the universe's laws. People do not dictate the laws of the universe, but that's what they do. Mass attracting mass and all that stuff. It's a law they made up for their model. We don't have to follow it. It's not. It has no legal status. Anthony Stan, am I ill? No. Waterworld, we have the problem in North America that we cannot... Oh, what's that? I missed that. Hang on, go back up. We have the problem in North America that we cannot get title to the land because the land was stolen from the original inhabitants, save for Manhattan Island, which was purchased from the... That's mental. And the natives, they found it incredible that people could come along and... This is it. They're like, okay, you go ahead. If you think you can own land... Go ahead, fight over it. You pay your money for it. Bates, if you're a baller and you believe all the fisheye lens, yeah, this is it. The fisheye lens, mental. Curved level. Jason Reagan, I've heard someone argue curved level as far as water is concerned, yeah. And this whole thing about a force acting on it, It will, dear. Zoom truth. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to, just trying to keep up with the chat here. But Scott Scorer, I believe we have many closet flat earthers who can't come out because of fear and loss. I believe so. Old school. Yeah. Occasionally you get comments that you know, they'll say, oh, I've been watching for like 4 or 5 years, and they finally get the courage to make a comment, and it's like, oh, it's lovely. It's lovely, really. It's not a force, we can think of a force, yeah. Stuart Lundell, Earth is demonstrably level. I work in an office of old people's home. 1,000 a week. 1,000 a week! Oh my God. What's more than you pay for a bloody 5-star hotel? Jesus. Yeah. But this is the thing, isn't it? You know, I mean, again, over here, the family is you know, the family is, you know, when someone grows up, like a son or a daughter, especially the first, they feel indebted. I know people who have worked their asses off so that they can then they will forego their own education, they'll work in horrible conditions so that their younger brother or sister can have an education, and then or support their parents, you know, and it's like, this is it, you know, kids here grow up and they feel indebted to their parents because they're reminded through the culture that, you know, the parents will do anything for their kids, and they sacrifice so much for their kids. And I think in the West we get kind of spoiled, you know, and there's this wedge driven between families. Of course, sometimes it's just impossible to get on with our folks or whatever, you know, that happens. But you know, what I see over in the West is, yeah, this wedge is driven between the nuclear family, and yeah, you know, the parents end up in an old people's home, and of course the kids they've got their own debt slavery to deal with. They don't have the time or the money or the energy to go back and help their parents. Here it's totally different, you know, it's still very much community based, and yeah, it's just nicer and more you know, the parents put in the time when the kids are growing up, and then once the kids are grown up and making their own living, and they can kind of chill out, and they don't have, you don't have to worry about having a retirement fund, because if you've had 3 or 4 kids, then the kids come back and look after you, you know, and they'll see you right. So, and it just perpetuates like that. So you don't have to be slaving away. As long as you just raise your kids, you focus on raising your kids, giving time to your kids, being there for your kids, that will come back. That's the investment that you can make. The one thing I can give my kids is the English language. They're raised in Thailand, but it's an asset I can give them by reading stories to them and being with them. They have the English language, which they can then go and use. If I didn't have the time for them, or this and that, then then they wouldn't necessarily be learning English, and they would not have that asset. This is something I can give to them for free, and that will be an asset for the rest of their lives. Stuart Lundy, Earth is demonstrably level. My granddad had 350 grand when he went to a home, was left with 24 grand when he died to share between 3 kids and 8 grandkids. Unfair. He wanted to give more. Not that it matters to me. Wish he was here. Yeah, that's it. You know, the money. You just rather they were there to share the happiness and see their grandkids. Really, don't you? It's not about the money. BKK Dave, a globe earther. That's how they make the globe gravity work. Bendy Water, still painting. Won't ever stop. Nice one. Jason Regan. They'll eventually tell the world, yes, the Earth is flat, but it's an alien terranium. yeah, and we'll be at the whim of the aliens. Saint Leon sounds like a good place to be, Nick, and shouldn't that be the norm. The issue we have in the West is the globalism bases on greed and manipulation. Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's what I mean. It's the whole globe thing just isn't a thing here. Sure, there's development, there's interaction, there's more of an international standard. I've seen that over the 20, 30 years that I've been here, that, things have developed, and, of course, we've got the internet and all that stuff. It's all science, and everything has all been really, it's all developed. Okay, with that, there has been some loss of that, the days of old, but it's still very strong. The Buddhist mentality and culture is still there, because they're not, there is no focus on trying to determine when the beginning of the universe was. There's just this understanding that it's like it's not something you can answer. There's no point. There's no point in trying to go there. There's no point in trying to define what this reality is. But there's this understanding that your karma, your doing, will result in sometimes instant karma, or basically positive output. And in that sense, it's scientific, because every action does create a reaction, and obviously if it's positive energy that you put out there, positive energy will come back in ways that you can't imagine. You can't ever predict. You can't do things. You can't do good deeds and expect a certain deed in return. You have to you just go with the flow. And when the moment comes, when the moment's right, when the time is right, you give. When someone's in need, you give. You don't give so that you don't give so that you suffer or your family suffers, but you give what you can. If a Thai person has 100 baht and their friend is in need, they will give their friend 50 baht. They'll divide it by, and they'll take off their gold, they'll sell it, and it's like, okay, you have half. Yeah? And it's like, it's just the way it goes. They don't think about it, because there's this faith or confidence that you don't have to plan it. Things will work out. Siddhi says we should come up with a better name than Flat Earth, because it means flattened ball. It would also help those in a closet to come out. Possibly, yeah. Level Earth. Yeah, obviously it's a term that's trending. But yeah. I'd like to get away from that term myself. Yeah. Need more Flat Earth graffiti out there. Bates trade, they own everything, they control everything, finance, governments, media, etc. It is one-sided in favour of the evil empire. Yeah? Excuse me. Problem is, Flat doesn't offer anything tangible to entice Globers. Well, but it's just a realization, isn't it? We're not offering them anything material. True, I mean, because, yeah, the whole globe thing is a very material thing. Again, it's like, where did it start? Where's it going to end? It's like trying to have those impossible answers, those answers to those questions that are impossible to actually answer. So, yeah, give without expectations, says Emerald Rider. Yeah. Denker, hi, good to see you. Nick, I've been listening to you for years and loving it. Your way of being always... Oh, lovely, thank you. Oh, wow, really good to see you, man. It's been a while, yeah. So, cool. Sandy123, nice. I'm sorry if I'm missing this. The chat's streaming away, so I'm sorry if I'm missing all of this. But again, yeah, this is just really nice. Just really nice to be sharing this. And I just that was the whole thing. To quote, forgive them for they know not what they do. These people doing hit pieces, these globers, these haters. I don't hate them. I'd love to just give him a hug. I wish we could. Wish we could. Why can't we all get along? Maybe that's naive, but you know, you healthy hat club. Thanks. Yeah. Utopia is there. There is a utopia. I've seen it. I've seen it over here. When there is abundance. Thank you, Dave. Yeah. You know, there is abundance. And, you know, you know, it's always nice to tell a couple of stories. Like when I was first here, riding the buses to go to my different jobs, I had to go around town, and I'd have my little briefcase. You know, sometimes I'd get on a bus and I'd just end up in the middle of nowhere because I didn't know where I was going, and I couldn't speak the language, and the Thais couldn't speak to me, and it would just be, you know, it was this whole learning curve. But never, ever, ever have I been threatened. I remember in the UK, you'd walk home from the pub, and you'd be on your guard. But here, you can walk around at 2 or 3 in the morning, and no one's going to do anything to you. You just don't feel that there isn't that same danger. Obviously, people get into arguments, they get drunk, they kill each other. It happens all the time. But you know, people that end up getting killed by someone, it's usually someone they know, and there's usually drink or drugs involved. Yeah, you rarely ever get killed by a stranger unless you get run over. Oh, thanks, Steve. Yeah. So, yeah, used to get on the buses, and I remember I was standing on the bus one day with my bag, because rarely was there seating room, and then I felt a tug on my bag, and I thought, oh my God, someone's trying to take my bag. But what it was then I looked around, and what it was this person sat on the seat, and they had a pile of bags on their lap, and this is the thing that they would do. If they saw that you had a bag and you were standing up and having to hold onto the rails, they would hold your bag for you. And this is one of those, you know, everyday beautiful experiences that I had in Thailand that began to change, that began to make me realise that how different the culture in the UK was to this very much more accepting, tolerant, kind culture. You know, if you meet you might go to a restaurant, and if you know the person at the restaurant, you know, where you might eat, you might pay for food every day, but then if that restaurant owner is eating their meal, they will say, come and eat, yeah? This is what, you know, and then someone might have like nothing, but they will invite you to eat. If they're eating, they will invite you to eat. But of course, in the West, we're given like, well, that's your plate, that's your plate, that's your. They don't do that here. They do not do that here. Everything is in the middle. It's shared. You know, people don't eat alone here either. It's just, you know, it's just so different. But to even begin to understand that culture, even though you might be immersed in it, to even get to that point where you can start to reflect on your own culture, still takes a lot of time and effort, and you know, and like I said, you know, you at first you feel you misunderstand good intentions. Like I thought someone was going to steal my bag when actually they were just being nice. Yeah. And so these are the kind of experiences that kept me here, because it was just, you know, every day something would happen. Yeah. Yeah. You'd love to come to Thailand, just come. Get on the plane. Come. Just don't think about it. Come. It's only 12 hours away. Get on a plane. Just come on over. I'll sort you out. Yeah. So stuff like that. And I remember another time I was trying to get to some meeting, And I was in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know where I was, but it was this busy road, and I'm there. I'm looking at my map. Maps are just totally useless. And I was looking at my map, and then this bunch of they looked like construction workers. These scruffy guys came up, and they were like, and I thought, oh shit, I'm going to get done over or something, But then later on, this guy who could speak English, this is in my first couple of months, so I didn't have any language skills then. He came up to me and said, oh, those guys, they could see that you were lost and they wanted to help you, but they didn't know how to talk to you. So again, I was getting the wrong impression that I thought these guys were going to do me over when they just wanted to help me out because they felt sorry for me, but they didn't know how to approach me. Yeah, anytime, Steve. Yeah, seriously, anyone. Glober, flat earth, or whatever. Come on over. Come and see it. Come and experience it for yourselves. Stay here for a year and you'll see the same stars come up every night in the same place. Then you'll know. Then you'll know that we're not on a bloody ball spinning around the sun. Promise you. Oh dear. But I ain't got the money to go to Spain, let alone Thailand. Well, Steve, it'll happen. If it's in your head, it'll happen. You'll make it happen. When the time's right, it will happen. Yeah. Bates, I've got a few guys on the Flat Earth reality, and they live at the Salvation Army apartments, and they are severe truthers. They get laughed at a lot, and together we put some of these people in their place. Nice one. Yeah. But gosh, it's that schoolyard mentality, isn't it? I mean, we all remember school. I mean, sometimes I used to fear going to school because there might be like a group of guys that would take the piss out of you or whatever. And school is tough, man, because they're nasty. Kids are nasty if they're allowed to be. If there's no one telling them not to be nasty. That's another thing that's different about this culture here is, the kids don't bully each other. Because they're taught respect, and and it's like, when you hear these stories about kids getting picked on and stuff, it's like, it doesn't really happen here. Because there's just this understanding that's part of the teaching, I'm actually really chuffed because when I first had my first child, that when she was a few years old, thinking, right, I've got to get back to the UK, I've got to get her educated properly. This is before any of all this, flat earth stuff came about, but that was my mindset, that I've got to get her back to the UK, or I can't have her educated here. But actually, she went through the Thai education system, and she's 23 years old now. She's stable. There was none of this teenage angst. We've never had these divisive arguments and stuff that I had with my parents. There was no pressure. She's just a healthy, happy person, and everything's fine. She still lives with us. There's no pressure for her to go and do her own thing. I mean, she's working, she's earning her own salary, she's got her own car, and she's doing her own thing. There's no pressure. Tinfoil hat girl, hey, I'm late, so I do not, whether it's really a topic. What do you say about that nutrition dude, Bart K, lashing out? Yeah, we did talk about it, but yeah, I did have a little bit of an interaction with him. I just found it funny that he kind of lashed out at flat earthers, and then says anyone who comes along here talking about flat earth will get banned. So far, my comments haven't been banned, but I have asked him to come up with some measurable proof, and for the last 8 hours he's been quiet. So we'll see how that goes there. But yeah, I mean, it's all good. I feel this is all good when people react like that. Then other people will see that, wow, that's such a strong reaction. And then you have to ask yourself, why? Why such a strong reaction? So, the peak level, thank you very much, thank you. Yeah, what's that? Oh, I'm just got to go back up again. Sorry. Yeah. But it is so simple, isn't it? It's really, really simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. If people are trying to make it complicated for you, they're lying. Yeah? They have preconceptions. They have a belief they're defending. They have something they're trying to impress upon you. Yeah? So there is nothing wrong with the simple life. Waking up, sharing food and a laugh, you know. I mean, you just look, it's funny, you know, you look at the way we get up and it's bam, 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 get to school, get to work, stress in the car. You know, we're living in a time and an age where everybody could be at home in their own office, doing their own thing. You know, the tech is there, but they still got us driving into the city centre. You know, and if you rush too much, you're going to get busted for driving too fast. You know, it's just you can't. You know, you just can't. You're between a rock and a hard place. And it just doesn't, once you're in that, it's just complicated. Joel Austin, to understand who rules over you is to know who, know who you can't criticize. Yeah? But did you think we must be critical of ourselves, ultimately? We have to be able to criticize ourselves. And, ultimately, if we can do that, that's the sovereign territory we can't often tread upon, is criticizing ourselves. Yeah. So I suppose if we're you know what I mean? It's like the last person we're ever going to blame a lot of the time is ourselves. So maybe if we all practice that, then it's all going to be cool. Tinfoil Hat Girl, he is against nutrition dogma, but in the end also very indoctrinated about what he learned at university. I haven't seen the rest. I couldn't quite work out what he's all about, but he seems to have a bit of a following. But it appears to me to be a bunch of people who are who want to have things a certain way, and so he's got his little niche there. You know, I'm not sure. I don't know enough about the guy to say much, but I think it's all good. Old Warrior, amen, the rat race, keeping up with the Joneses and the dog eat. Yeah. Yeah, and I think, to be honest, I mean, again, when it comes to diet and stuff like that, we're all different. This is it. You know, this is what we have to, you know, we're all unique. We have to celebrate that uniqueness. So, obviously, you know, what's suitable for one person because of their genetic makeup and all that stuff is not going to be, you know, one man's poison is another man's whatever. You know what I mean? It's like it's pointless to try and dictate what the vast majority of people should or should not eat. You know, could you tell someone who lives in an area where there are no plants that they have to be vegetarian and they can't eat whale meat or they can't eat seals or whatever? Do you know what I mean? We can't force that upon them, even if, you know. So it's just like. Yeah, and I've had to deal with that as well over here. You know, the Thais are very vegetarian. They eat a lot of vegetables a lot of the time, but occasionally they go and catch something in the forest. They might catch a lizard, and they'll roast it. And it's like, well, sometimes that's all they've got, and that's what's been provided. You see, so you can't be offended that they're going to eat that. At the same time, if you are really what's the word? If you're really cool about it, I just remembered a story. Okay, it's a story. It's a very interesting story because I actually, you know what? Give me 1 second. I'll go and get it. Sweat me nuts up here. Oh. Hang on, let's get some. There's a really interesting story behind this Buddha amulet. Just said to my kids one day, I had loads of work to do, but my kids were saying, we want to go to the beach, I'm like, oh, all right then, okay. And there's a whole bunch of beaches we can choose to go to. And so should we go to this one? And then, no, let's go to this. So we ended up at Surin Beach, it was. And so my kids are frolicking about in the waves, and this was poking out of the sand. And I pulled it up, and I pulled it out of the sand. I pulled this thing. So it's a very valuable Buddha amulet. This is silver, so it hadn't rusted. And it blew me away. And it was just, what would you call it, serendipity. And you know, it's just one of those things that just happened. I mean, it was one of those finds that you just and the Thais believe that something like this would find the person it was supposed to be for. It would just happen. And so, yeah. It's now, what was the story? The story was that this particular monk that this represents, he at one point was walking through the forest and he was lost and he'd been for days without food, and he eventually got to a point where he was on his last legs, and there was some wolves off in the distance. And he was basically, he was of the mindset that, okay, my time's up, I'm ready, if you guys, the wolves, if I'm to be your dinner, then just, okay, come, make it quick. And this is the thing, so my point is about the whole food thing, and ultimately we are just part of the food chain. So I'm never going to get on anyone's case about what they decide to eat. Because ultimately we all end up getting eaten, whether we die first or we get eaten by something. You wouldn't blame an animal for eating you if it's hungry and you're the weak one. That's your time. But this is the story behind the monk who this amulet represents, is that, that. But what actually happened was that the wolves were leading him to where he was actually going to end up surviving. So it's just, it's just one of those things that you kind of. So my whole point is that if if we kind of waste our time trying to impress beliefs, about whether people should or shouldn't eat this or eat that, or it's just like, we have to be free of all that. We can't be demanding that anyone, and I suppose that's what I've learned from the Thai culture, is that you don't, they're ultimately, the Buddhist culture is one of vegetarianism, but it's very difficult to be vegetarian. There's chicken for sale everywhere on the streets, so it's but then, for example, you could sit next to a Muslim and you could be eating pork. The Muslim's not going to get on your case for eating pork. That's just, okay, they've got their thing, you've got your thing. Whether or not there are any karmic implications for eating meat, then so be it. That's your karma. Yeah? Maybe you become something that gets eaten in the next life, and the next life, and the next life. I often wonder whether all the things that I've eaten, do I then have to go through being that life? But that's just the perpetuation of this world. Yeah? Emerald Rider, great find, Nick. The body knows what it needs, the mind confuses, the body knows. Yeah. People, people stuck on a raft out in the sea. Oh, Fat Enough says I'm echoing. Sorry about that. Celtic. All right, nice one. Yeah. Oh, I think Fat Enough and Celtic, I think you're coming in early on the stream. This has been going for an hour and a half now, so it looks like you're talking. Yeah, maybe the echo is from earlier on. I'm not sure. Brian Rue's channel was shut down, by the way. Nature's Swastika. Oh, okay. Getting to the root. What about those who contribute to the practices of factory farming? Minorities that live next to a factory farm getting cancer and the other illnesses, to each their own, though, right? Hang on, yeah, maybe, I don't know, saying I'm broadcasting twice, maybe. That's a good point. Try that. Teach. Yeah. Yeah. Do any of us have the answer? No. Do we? Can you say that someone is born into a bad situation or a good situation because of karma? I don't know. We don't have those answers. Yeah. Yeah. Factory farming, whatever. No, I mean, I don't necessarily. I'm not advocating that either. I mean, it's a question I ask myself all the time. That kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, it's to where do you draw the line? Where do you say, at what point do you impress your beliefs or your justice? What right do any of us have to mete out justice? Unless it's a time when you're in that situation when you just instinctively, and it's not because you're not possessed by anger, because anger is one of that comes about from a belief that's kind of driven by the ego. But when you do something, an action that is just without thought and without emotion, then that's probably the right course of action. If there's if there's emotion involved, then it means that it's coming from the ego. Yeah? So might sound really weird but that's the thing. We've got to understand that most of what we do and most of what we think and most of what we believe is driven by emotion, which is driven by the ego, isn't it? Yeah. So, I'm not trying to, give out any answers here, man. I'm as in the dark as anyone else. But we got to question it. And if we don't question, we don't get answers. Yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to keep up with the chat now, see if... flat enough. Oops. Celine Dion, it's not what you do, it's the way that you do it. Factory farming should be exposed without question, right? Yeah, you should certainly be, made aware of it. Yeah, if you tuck into a chicken burger, we should certainly be aware of how that came about. And I've seen some good shows or good documentaries or whatever, where you might have some people that are just quite happy to munch on their chicken burger and they don't care how or why that came about until they're taken to the chicken factory where they have to slaughter the chickens, and then it's then that they would then think about, they would then maybe change their mind, So, in the same vein, though, up country, people will have their chickens, and it's always weird to see when they slaughter a chicken. The other chickens just don't care. It doesn't mean anything. They'll just, the other chicken, there's the chicken kind of going on the floor with its throat slit. And all the other chickens are just they just carry on scratching around in the dirt. I'm not making any particular point here for or against it, but what I'm saying is it's just weird that you don't see a reaction in the other animals. Yeah? When one of their kind is being killed. They actually have a phrase in Thai. They say, slit the chicken's throat in front of the monkey. Chut guy, hiding do. So they it's a power thing. You wanna impose your power, or let the monkey know that you're in charge, then you kill the chicken in front of the monkey. Yeah, and then the monkey knows that you have the power, you're the god. Yeah. So, yeah. But this is it, yeah. If people want to eat meat, then they should at least be able to slaughter the animal themselves, I think. And if they can't handle that, then they shouldn't be relying on factory farming either. So, yeah. Yeah, slide 2. Nobody has the right to force the will over anyone else unless they're trying to hurt someone, not aggressive in principle. This would solve a lot of the world's problems. Yeah. Yeah, Isle of Awakening, if you raise and harvest rabbits, you can give them a good life and eat very healthy if you choose to eat meat. Yeah, again, it is a choice, isn't it? Flat enough says, now the monkey just knows you can kill chickens. Maybe, but it's just a saying that they have here. So, yeah. And, oops. Emerald Rider, Robert, I had a rabbit trap when I was 8 years old. Tony T, 21 pigeons came to my house, God ate 2 pigeons, Len still came back. Yeah, I mean, this is it, you know, I mean, I to be honest, I don't want to get into that kind of argument because, you know, as I said, it's like, you know, there possibly are karmic implications. So yeah, you eat a chicken, maybe you become a chicken in your next life. Who knows? I have no idea. But I mean, this whole thing is just going to go on forever and ever and ever. It's all going to be eternal anyway, you know. So, and I accept that at some point I might lose my life to either old age or getting run over by a bus or might get eaten by a shark. Who knows, man? But not going to blame the shark if I'm food. Yeah, it's just the way it goes. So I mean, you know, it is the natural order of things. But of course, we as humans have the ability to make a choice. So yeah, we can choose whether to eat meat or not, and all that stuff. So yeah, but again, you know, do we impose that on other people? Again, they are living out their karma. They are creating their karma. So, you know, again, this is kind of the Thai Buddhist mindset, is that, like, you know, they're not going to go and harangue people for eating meat, even though they themselves will be vegetarian. It's just like, okay, that's their thing, that's their deal, you know, that's their path. And likewise, so, you know, so again, for all these people, as we started this talking at the beginning of the stream, the people doing the hit pieces and the hating on the flat earthers, that's their path. Doesn't actually bother me, because ultimately they do get people to, you know, it's like the World Trade Center. You know, they can't pull something like that off without people thinking, hang on a minute, there's rhyme and reason behind this. So I'm happy for them to all carry on doing their hit pieces and stuff, because getting distracted by Flat Enough's comment there. Phuket word, but what are animals, especially the ones with a definite face and expressions like mammals? Yeah, yeah, I mean, but again, yeah, where do you draw the line? I'm not defending either side of the argument. I'm really not. You know, I personally, I don't really eat meat, and but then I don't impose that on all of my family either. Yeah, I mean, it's just that's my personal choice. I don't like eating meat for those reasons. I don't like being responsible for you know, if I can help it, then, you know, I'll eat vegetarian, vegan. Yeah, but it's is it my place to judge? It's, you know, someone made a comment recently, you know, how do you know when someone's vegan? Oh, it's like, don't worry, they'll tell you. So, and that often happens. So, and I had that experience back in the UK. I had this neighbour who was just like, just going on and on and on about it. It was like, well, okay, cool, that's your choice, that's great, you know. And for them, it was almost like just like the flat earther that has just discovered flat Earth and wants to tell everyone. It's like, well, okay, that's your path. You're walking that path. Great, you know, that's all good. That's cool. And yeah. So no, this guy Bart, who whatever he is, if he promotes carnivorism, I don't agree with that. But I'm not going to enter into a debate or an argument about it with him. But when it comes to flat Earth, this is just something that is just you know, something that's passed. You know, the globe is passed off as science when it's not, and it's meant to imprison us. And yes, the factory farming and all that stuff, it all comes with it. The industry, all these industries, the debt slavery, the whole thing that goes with globalization. Yeah, it's horrible. It's not right. It's wrong. You know. So yeah, and that includes the factory farming and the processed food and all that, everything, the whole thing. Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, I think there is a difference between the kind of life that is led our country here, for example, where you know animals are part of daily life, and they, you know, for example, the buffalo is there. It's an asset. It plows the fields and all that stuff, and so no one wants to get rid of their buffalo or have their buffalo slaughtered. But there is ultimately this pressure to do so when it comes to a wedding or a funeral. So yeah, there is that cultural element of pressure to conform to the culture. So I'm in no way saying that this culture is perfect, because yeah, every culture has those pressures that are put on people, you know, to do certain things that aren't necessary. Yeah. So yeah, there is no culture that's better than the other, I would say. They're all just different. But it's up to us as individuals to work out what's right or wrong for each of us. Yeah. Emerald Rider says, eat local, buy local is the only way to fight back from globalization. Yeah. Okay. Eric, I respect vegans. I'm LDS, and we believe in eating meat sparingly, though many LDS don't exactly practice that teaching. They should, though. Seek truth now. Bart is full of himself. He thinks he's so smart he won't humble himself. All in good time. Celtic 67, I've had a few kebabs that have tasted like... How do you know what rat tastes like? I won't eat kebabs. Yeah, you never know what's in a kebab. Yeah. Or sausages. Yeah. I've had locusts. I've had all kinds of insects. I've had red ants and eggs. Tastes like the smell of rat. Well, okay, if it tastes like the smell of rat, it probably is rat, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Again, out here they'll eat rats. The field rats. One thing my wife said to me once is, you know, when I was going through my whole kind of, you know, vegan thing, raw food thing, and she's like, well, you know, when you see the number of fish or frogs that you know, one fish will give birth to hundreds of other fish. And in the field, because obviously in the rice fields, the rice paddies, they're full of water. So once the rains come and they fill up with water, you've got eels, you've got shrimp, you've got fish, you've got frogs. And so, you know, mother goes off into the forest or into the rice paddies with this kind of wicker basket, you know, at 4 o'clock in the morning. She comes back by about 6 or 7 in the morning with this basket full of, like, just all sorts of different, you know, crabs and shrimp and stuff, all just kind of live stuff. That's breakfast. That's what the land has provided. But of course, that isn't, you know, that's all they have. That's what they go out there, they get them, and so there isn't this kind of factory farming in that respect. They of course, if there's mushrooms, they'll eat mushrooms. If they find some fruit, they'll eat that, you know. Or if they dig up what do you call it, cassava, then they'll have that, you know. So sure, it's like when I see that coming back and I'm thinking, oh my God, that's breakfast. Well, what do? Do I say, oh no, you can't do that? No, just go with it. It's just like you eat it. Yeah. Shane Walker, kebabs are gross. I don't like them. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, frankly, I really don't like to get into that whole argument because personally, I remain veggie. I eat tofu and what have you. But that's, I'm not gonna go and hassle other people about that. Crisp butties. Yeah. With white bread, yeah? Yeah. Alright, look, it's coming up to a couple of hours, and sorry, just a couple more chats here. Sandy, in our pyjamas and had to move the chickens from piling up in the corner of the barn, suffocating the ones underneath. Oh, I'm not, yeah. Well, this guy, so kids are. Yeah, okay, Sparkly, nice one. Thanks for coming along. Yeah. So yeah, I really appreciate everyone for coming along, having interacting, and it's been nice to just share some experiences and stories about the journey, and I think we need to let's not hate like those haters are hating, because that's pointless. We just, we walk our path, we do our thing, we make progress. Don't let them drag us. Yeah, cool pics, thanks. And yeah, beautiful footage you had the other day, cool pics, lovely. And that's it. If people refuse to see the truth, if they refuse to see it, that's up to them. Leave them to it. Yeah. So I think we can all just keep going. Just keep going, and eventually they'll catch up. So anyway, thanks a lot for coming along, and blessings, and let's catch up soon. All right. Cheers for now.